The Aubrey hat is worked with knits and purls to create this textured triangle pattern. So I figured if you know how to knit and you know how to purl, you're probably okay on that front. But you may have never learned to do magic loops, so I thought I would talk about that. So this is a hat that I've started using a 16-inch circular. And the 16-inch circular is perfect for working a hat. You want your circular needle to be slightly smaller in circumference than your project. Otherwise, your needles will be stretching the fabric out. But once I get to the point where I need to decrease for the crown, my needles are going to be too long. So eventually I'll have to switch to something else, either a double pointed needle, or I can switch to some longer needles to do the magic loop. So the ideal cord length for this would be a 40-inch cable. And I'm just using a long tail cast on, which I find gives a nice sturdy edge. Makes it easier for joining in the round without twisting everything. So once that's all cast on, I'm going to slide my work down to the middle of the cable, and I'm going to fold it in half and just pull a little piece of the cable out. And you can do this by pushing the left needle almost all the way through. And you're going to want to make sure that your stitches are not twisted here. So you can see the long tail cast on does a really good job of that. So holding everything kind of steady, you're going to bring your needles together. And I'm just going to pull my tail off to the front. Okay. And then with my right needle, I'm going to pull it until it's a comfortable length for working. So if you can see on the left side of the screen, a lot of the cable is still hanging out there. So I just want to pull enough out so that it's comfortable for me to work it. And I'm just going to start knitting. The cool thing about Magic Loop is you can actually use it to knit the whole hat, from the full circumference all the way down to the crown decreases. So once you get to the end of this needle, you'll find you're left with a pretty long cord on your left hand. So you're going to let that dangle and just kind of pull your left needle through your work. And you're going to push your left hand needle back all the way in. And you're going to pull your right hand needle all the way out again to a comfortable length. You can see how in my left hand again, there's still some cable hanging out. So you only want to pull enough out so that you can work it comfortably. And you're just going to keep knitting your row. And once we get to the end of this part, that will be one full row. So when we get to the end of this, that is where your tail will be and where you will put your stitch marker. Okay, so once you reach the end, you'll find you've got your long left-hand needle again, and you can see there's a sort of a stretched stitch between the two needles at the beginning of your row, and that is something that will kind of work itself out as you knit your piece, and you can also tidy it up at the end. So don't worry too much about that, and just keep going.